Hello, morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Hope everyone is having a pleasant Sunday. Half my tooling has stopped, but the other half is working, so I think we're on to a winner. Why is this live stream? This one. Hello? I have a little button on my stream deck that tells me how many people are watching on the various platforms, and they're both showing 0, which is upsetting, and I hope not true, but who knows. AC, hello. Harand, hello. Connor, hello. Quacko, Daz, hello, hello, hello. Unified chat seems to be working again. The numbers are coming. The numbers are rolling in. We've got 7 people on YouTube. We're basically done. Okay. Cool. Right. Text rendering. Let's do this. Last stream, we widened some characters and we had a brief chat about zero width joiners of emojis, which is a bit of a tangent, but I thought it was fun. We widened some characters because Windows, and today we will try and continue on our path to rendering text. We need to go through the Windows API first to effectively do the layout, do the rasterizing of the glyphs and other Unicode words, stick that in some sort of buffer. We'll then slap that in OpenGL, and then something UI pass in the renderer with orthographic projection, something. Are we done? Let's see where we're at. So what we're going to be looking at, so this was our widening function. It uses the Windows multibyte to wide char, one of my favorites, aptly named. And then we were looking at our text factory, I think is what I called it. So we really just started creating some COM objects, nothing too fancy. We could try some Unicode characters. Obviously the locale will be GB, which means we won't get, or will get, I guess, like some edge cases like the Turkish eye problem, but I think we'll be all right. We'll see what happens. What we want to do today is use I want to use the Windows imaging component, which is available in Vista onwards. So sorry if you're on XP, we will not support you. Extensible framework for working with images and image metadata. This is going to allow us to create a buffer of the right image format that the direct write API can understand and write to. We can then lock it, which then gives a pointer back to the data, and then we can then stick that into OpenGL. It's a bit roundabout. There might be better ways of doing it. This is the way that I have chosen to do it before, and I know works. I mean, it's not going to work now, obviously, because it never works when I do it again, but has worked before. Yeah, so we'll see. So I think this is a great question. It's like, why am I not doing it another way? I'm not an expert in any of this. If there is a better way, then I don't know it. It doesn't mean there isn't one. This is just how I've done it before. We can, I mean, have a look. I know that in order to render, we need, as far as I'm aware, a render target. And I know that you can back a render target with a bitmap that you've created through Wick. That's how I've done it before. If there's a better way of doing it, then sure. I think I'd rather just get something working, and then we can always look at improving it later. Julian, hello. User, hello. Pariah, it's Paria. Apologies if I get that wrong. Hello. Yeah, so like I said, I'm not an expert in any of this, especially game dev and OpenGL. I just have some prior art where I tried to solve this problem before, and I created a in-memory bitmap and then wrote the text to that. So I kind of want to go through how I done it before, and then we'll see where we get to. So we need. So we've got the font name. Again, I'm not dependency injecting the font name. So far, it's always going to be Arial. We could extend this API later to also accept some sort of font size and or font family. But for now, we'll get on with it. So I need to include our what do you mean by it's similar to C? Because it's Win32 specific, which is a C API. So I don't know if that's what you mean. Okay, so let's widen that, and then we'll do const auto text wide equals text widen text. So all I'm doing, because this particular part of the Win32 API only wants was strings, which is effectively UTF-16. I'm just going to, but I don't, that's not my vocabulary type. That is not the type that I want to communicate across my API and boundaries and stuff. So I will just internally widen it to the point, at the point I need it. And then I'm going to have a ID write text format. Text format. Okay. Oh, I've already got the formats. I've got it there. So this gives us the various bits and pieces. So it sets up the style and the font size for the rendering and the locale and stuff like that. Yes, we will have to widen every string that needs to be rendered, but I can't see us having to render loads and loads of text. So especially if we can maybe cache part of it. Ultimately, we'll probably need to move to, if it is a bottleneck, we'll move to a texture, like a font atlas. That's the word I'm trying to get to, where we pre-render every single character we think we're going to need into some massive square and know the relative offsets of all those and the sizes and the widths and the various kerning things, and then we can programmatically build it up there. Yeah, it's a ball ache in the sense that we've had to do it, but now that we've done it, it's like the code is there and it's tested, and it is annoying. But this is the game, right? Wrapping interfaces rather than using raw API calls from whatever vendor that you don't control. Yeah. Okay, right. So now I need a text layout, right? Okay, so this will constrain the area that you are rendering to, ultimately giving you back the dimensions of the texture of the rendered text, given the font and the format and the size. Yes, we do. Here. It's not great, but it is sure is a test. So then we can ensure that I think we use the right factory. Sorry, I do have a few notes from this off screen. I'm not just pulling this completely out of my arse. Create a text layout. So this will take the text y.cstra. Okay, we widened it, so we'll get a C style string to a WHRT array. And actually, let's just check the arguments for this. So where's the create text layout? I think I've got it up here. So this is the WHRT string that we want to render. Text string, text format, and associated constraints, and produces an object that represents the fully analyzed and formatted results. So this does a lot of the churn of figuring out what it's all going to look like at the end. I have to give it a format that we've already created, and then I give it a max width and a max height, and then out pops a new object, which is nice. I just put in like a massive number here because I don't want to artificially constrain the width of the layout box. I don't know if that is idiomatic or correct, but it's what I've done. So what do we next need to put into text layout? The number of characters in the string. Okay, so that would be static cast uint32 uint32 text y.length. Could also use size. I tend to prefer to use length because I feel it's more stringy, but who really knows? Okay, and then the text format object that we've already reified, and then pick your favorite. Some sort of large float, and then out of this pops the text layout. And then if that doesn't equal okay, then we failed to create a text layout. Okay, let me just see what people are saying. Yes, sorry. Let me just go through the things. Yes, we have a G-test for this. MSDN. I think MSDN docs are pretty good. I must admit, I think they are pretty good. They normally have okay examples as well. That's a question for Haran, so I won't answer that. Do I think learning C++ via games for business is useful? I think there's quite a lot to unpack there. I think learning C++ is a tool, right? So I think learning C++ is good if it's a tool that you wish to use professionally or to want to solve the kind of problems that C++ is often used for. Learning via games, I think just the best way to learn is just to write lots of code, and especially with projects that you find fun and engaging, because that is going to allow you to write out lots of code by yourself. If you enjoy writing games, then I think it's okay. Every industry, right, regardless, I think, of technology, tends to have its own preconditions, its own domain-specific reasons for using certain tools in certain ways. So you might pick up some things from talking to people who do game dev that are done a certain way, which is maybe not applicable to cybersecurity or finance or something like that. So I think as long as you kind of keep that in mind, I don't think it's inherently a bad way to learn the language. Yeah, we're coming today. We've co-initialized, so we're good to go. Ensure good spot. That should be that. AC has been a YouTube member for 12 months. It's been I can't believe we've been doing this for I've been doing this for 3 years now, but I think it's really taken off in the last 12 months. Okay, I think that's most of the questions. Let's keep on trucking. Now I want to get the actual. So this after this call, assuming it is successful, will update the layout and allow us to get the actual width and height. So we can do const auto width equals static cast stood uint 32 t. Oh, no, I missed a step here. Sorry. I can do auto metrics equals dWrite text metrics, and then I can do off the text layout object. I can basically say get metrics and stick that in there. So this will then give me access to a bunch of stuff, of which we can get the width and the height. So the width of the formatted text, ignoring training white space at the end of each line. So this should give us the actual width and height. I want to probably use those as integers because various other parts of the engine treats width dimensions as integers. So we'll just do a quick cheeky little cast. If you think my typing is normally pretty bad, it's going to be exceptionally terrible today because I sliced my left index finger open on a knife earlier, and I have now somewhat restricted mobility in it. Good code practices, like it's the way that the idioms and the paradigms that you use to solve certain problems will be different potentially between industries and between companies. So games, for example, I don't know, they might have certain allocator preferences and usages which differ to other places. So they might just do everything from like a pool allocator. That will be involving programming slightly differently to somewhere else. As just an example off the top of my head, I mean, Harand is our resident game dev industry veteran, so I'm sure he has some insight into what is considered like different in programming in C++ in the games industry. But I'm just something to be aware of. Yeah, maybe I think what I'm trying to say is just be prepared that whatever you learn in C++, especially in isolation, could very well be different to how you're expected to apply it in a job. That doesn't mean what you learned is in any way wrong. It's just it might be different, and you kind of would need to demonstrate that you can adapt and learn from that. Okay, so now I want to create a wick. So let me get up my notes here. Basically, I need to write to a thing, so I'm going to use an image factory from the Win32 library to create the bitmap, and then from there we can create the draw render target, and then kind of hook all these up together, such that we can call draw text layout using our text layout and the brush that we create on the render target, and then basically we can get the size and then we can lock it. So we're just going to churn through all this stuff today. And also, like, bear in mind, if you are watching what I do, I tend to prefer and leverage everything. Like, nothing is off the table for me in terms of language and library features, which might be different to where you end up using it. Okay, so let's go. We're going to want one of my favorites, an iWick. What header's that in? The another one of my favorites. WinCodec.h. Really scraping the bottom of the barrel for Win32 APIs today. So now we should have access to an iWick image, another factory. Don't want factory 2. Definitely not. Image factory. Okay. And then we can ensure. So we now need to do the com dance of create instance. Oh, do I not have? There you go. And then this is just a way of creating com objects. So we want this. You need the CL SID, which is some magical. I don't know if it's an enum, but it's a magical tag to tell com what object to create. So I want the imaging factory. Apparently I do want this in my notes, which is interesting. I have opted for the second one. That's normally how they do versioning in com, if I remember correctly. You sort of keep adding numbers on, which is why you end up with like DirectX 6, 7, 8, 9, etc. Let's stick with the tried and tested. Null pointer, whatever this magic flag is. In proc server, because com can be used as IPC, inter-process communication. I believe you can even use it over a network. So I guess this is just saying I'm not doing that. And then the UID, more magical runes in the sand. UID of I wick imaging factory 2. And then I need to, I bet I can't just give it image factory. That doesn't equal, if that, I should expect that to equal, that's okay, otherwise could not create image factory. Here we go, what's this? Our value of, yeah, so I'm going to need to reinterpret cast void star star. 2-star programmers today. Okay. So this is just the runes you need to invoke in order to initialize this. Different to the runes we needed to establish everything else. Obviously. Yes, that's the int which good definition for SLCID. Okay, right. Oh, it is swarming this rhino. Okay, then I need some render properties, which is basically going to say what's this. Nope, sorry. Now I can create the bitmap. So this is the blob of memory that will receive the rendered text. So I wick bitmap, a butmap. Matthias, hello. And then ensure that now that I have the image factory, I can create a bitmap with it. So this is basically what I wanted to do. There might be, like I said, there might be better ways of creating all this stuff. This is just from prior art, how I've done it before. More magical flags. So I want the wick pixel format. I want 32 bits per pixel. RGBA, I think. What are these? Let's have a look. Native pixel formats. Okay. Bit depth, blah, 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 color channels, blah, 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 width pixel format. Defining width provides a friendly name to reference the. It sure does provide a friendly name. I would agree. From end channel formats, is it going to give me the friendly names, or am I just to? I definitely don't want index. I don't want packed. I don't want grayscale. I want RGB, VGR. Here you go. These formats separate the primary colors. Oh. I will go through and fix that typo in a second. Yeah, I got the iMate factory. Yep. Okay, I'll fix that. This is not C. This is obviously C++ code, but this is very much Windows C++ code. I wouldn't use it as maybe the paragon of beautiful C++ with all this. But it's real code that solves real problems. Well, in theory, real problems. So here's what it is. Okay, do I want so? Why have some of these got a? So what's the P? Why do I want? I'm struggling to see the difference between 32 bits per pixel RGBA and 32 bits per pixel P RGBA. Does anyone know what that P means? Pre-multiplied? Is that like pre-multiplied alpha? Which I don't want. Okay, it's pre-multiplied. Okay, so I don't think I want that. This is where I'm going to really show my lack of graphics knowledge. Smash cuts to 3 streams time where all the alpha is wrong. I'm like, oh, why is it not pre-multiplied? I don't know. Do I want pre-multiplied? I don't think I do want pre-multiplied, do I? Because I'm not handling that anywhere else in the rendering pipeline. Bitmap. Why do I not have cache on demand? And then out of this pops the bitmap, and then if this doesn't equal, that's okay. Failed to create bitmap. I've got a typo somewhere, haven't I? Where was the typo? iMate. Oh, here you go. I thought it was in a variable name. That's fine. Well, we shouldn't need to do any. Oh, yeah. Okay, chroma keying. Interesting. We'll see how we get to. Because we'll need a separate shader, I imagine, for this, because I want to just use orthographic projection, and I might be able to just simplify that in the shader, I think. Question mark? By I don't know why I keep doing this. I don't know what's up. Oh, it's because the notes that I've got. Nope, they do it the right way around. I literally am just failing today. Okay, so now we have const auto property. So now we can get some properties. So D1, D2, D1. Render target properties. I feel like I'm missing a header for that. Where's this function live? So what I'm trying to do is get some properties out, because then I can convert the wick bitmap into a render target. This is the magical bit here, which unifies everything together. See? Hello. Roman, hello. Okay, so what was the function I was trying to call? Render target properties. Here we go. So this is it. So I need to put in a type, a value that specifies whether the render target must use hardware rendering or software rendering. I guess, do I care? What did I do before? Default. The pixel format, again, obviously not specified that enough yet. Horizontal DPI of the render target, the vertical DPI of the render target, the default value is 0, the default value is 0, render target usage, feature level, and this is in the D2, D1 helper. D2, D1. D2, D1. No, do I not have... Right. Okay, fine. It's so obscure, even the LSP can't find it. Yeah, I think yeah. I think it's probably a bit of a dip at the moment in the job market, especially for junior developers. Doesn't mean there aren't jobs out there. It depends really where you are in your career and how junior that is. I would definitely recommend looking for internship and graduate opportunities if you're sort of at that area in university. I think rolling out of that, I don't actually have a lot of experience in hiring in that area, so I can't really. I think everything I say would just be guessing, which isn't really fair. So that's my politician's answer, I'm afraid. So render target properties. And from here, I will take one D2, D1, render target type default, and then I will take. I like how this is actually namespaced as well, even for like a C API. Pixel format, and then DXGI. Going to go GI now. We're going to use all the Windows primitives. Format. I seem to be missing some. Like, I definitely want R8, G8, B8, A8, right? Unorm? Am I missing a header for that? And then I want D2, D1, alpha mode straight. I should check those. What is alpha mode? Here we go. The alpha value has not been pre-multiplied. The alpha value channel indicates the transparency of the color. I think that's what I want. Okay, sorry, I'm trying to respond to everyone's comments, but I'm also trying to work my way through this. Like, what is it? It is a boilerplate. It's a boilerplate stream today, so I do apologize. These could be 0 because they're default. And then D2D1 render target usage none. I guess this just always works. There's no way of communicating an error. It just returns the object. Right now, this is where it gets a little bit even more gross, because I now, as far as I can tell, none of these objects require any sort of cleanup. I don't think there's a uncreate bitmap, for example. But the next primitives we want to create do need cleaning up, so we need to wrap them in some sort of primitive. Yeah, there's very little substitute for experience and being able to demonstrate experience, and that is just time. So yeah, you might not get your dream job first time around, but you will get experience. And it's not just experience in the programming sense, it's also working in a professional environment, how to navigate corporate hierarchy, and how to talk and present and start to build consensus and all these other good business words. There's a lot to be kind of figured out, and it's all, you can only really do that by doing it. Okay, so I want back to the direct 2D create factory. Oh, this is gross, this. So I want one of these. Creates a render target that renders to a Microsoft Windows image component. So this is the bit that's going to do it. Like I said, I'm going to keep saying it. Might be a better way. This is how I've done it before. This is almost certainly not going to work. Oh no, it's not going to work on Windows Phone. Oh well. I think I need to what I'm trying to figure out is why I did this before. So again, this is a little bit of a learning voyage of discovery. I auto release this with a safe release object, which I think I wrote, and it calls right. So we just need to call release on the object when we're done. Pro tip. So after creating this, we need to, at the end of the scope, call release. I think there might be a better way of doing this. I think it might be something like I don't think I need to, I think I can just use a unique pointer, right? What am I doing? Not like that, I'm not. Apologies. Then I think I can do const auto release equals const auto obj. What type of object is this? I think it could be anything you call release on, and then do obj release. This will be my deleter, right? And not actually going to call delete, but it's just going to take the object and call release on it. I use Linux as my daily driver at work, but there's certain things that I kind of need to work consistently at home that keeps me on Windows. We've had this discussion before. Photoshop, DaVinci, my Stream Deck. These are all kind of really Windows first software, and whilst there are a variety of solutions, I've looked into it. There's solutions for all of those to get work on Linux. They all seem quite flaky, and I just cannot afford that instability. It's kind of a weird thing to say, but I need things to just work, so I have to use Windows. But like WSL is absolutely game changer. It basically allows me to have the best of both worlds, so I can do all my dev in Linux with NeoVim and Tmux and all that goodness, and then I can still use Photoshop. Okay, so let's do auto render target. Okay, equals std unique pointer I d2 d1 render target decal type release. Okay. Why is it not like that? This argument functionally says type const. So that needs to just not be const. Okay. Yes. Discord. Go, join, talk, discuss, have fun. Thank you. So for the Stream Deck, there's some guy's homebrew solution on GitHub, which I'm sure is fine. But again, it's just when I don't have a huge amount of time and I'm trying to, do videos and do these streams and stuff like that, I don't really want to be spending ages trying to fix something compatibility thing on Linux. So for now, I'm going to stick with Windows. But I'd like to. I don't think it's not like I don't want to. I just think unfortunately, like my shit works on Windows. Okay, so now what we should be able to do is, I think we can use some C++23 magic here. Expect direct. What did I call my original factory? Is it right factory? I feel like. Yeah, right factory. So I think I can do right factory. Create. wick bitmap render target, and then give it the bitmap object, and then point it to the properties. And then I think I can do stirred out pointer render target. And if that's, ensure that equals SOK, otherwise fail to create render target. So out pointer, I believe, was 23, and it's basically a helper method for taking something that comes out of a C API and automatically sticking it in a unique pointer. Thank you. In short, yeah, good spot. I don't know why it doesn't like this. What have I? Look. Ooh, new team member, John Hamlet. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. Thank you for supporting the channel. Much appreciated. If a Discord is your thing, then do come along. There's a members only room as well as a lot of other non-member only rooms. I might just call this on the wrong object. I want an ido d21 factory. What header files is in? What have I done wrong? Oh, hang on. No, I'm missing a primitive here. That's why. I need to first of all construct a id 2d1, just a generic factory. Could be anything in there. And then we'll call this direct 2d factory. Here we go. Here we go. And now I can ensure that d2, so many numbers. Create that factory with a d2d1 factory type single threaded. Sure, I don't want a multi-threaded factory. That sounds like absolute chaos. And then stick that in the direct 2D factory. And then that has to equal SOK, otherwise I failed to create direct D2D factory. Okay, so now this is not the right, I've got my factories confused. All right, so that should, again, so that likes that. Yeah, well done. But yeah, as I was saying, this is it? Out pointer 23. Yeah. So this helps you bridge the gap between raw C pointers coming out of an API and unique pointer or shared pointer. It works for both of them. There's also in-out pointer if you need to release the object, if you know the API is going to call delete on it first, so we'll allow it to release it first. There's some other technicalities around that, but by and large, this is what you want, which is quite nice. I'm glad they're inspiring you and helping you. I don't know if today's stream is going to be that inspiring because it's a lot of just whatever all this is. But yeah, I'm glad you're here. Okay, so is this still blend, by the way? If I got some sort of miserable link error somewhere. Still got to render this. Oh, I've not had that question in some time. Yes, of course it's pre-recorded. Apologies. Ooh. Right. While that blends, because I'm sure it's absolutely fine. Famous last words. Let's say we want to now properties, create a brush. I think we need to use the same technique as this. So we can do auto brush equals stood unique pointer I D2 D1 solid color brush. We might want to have like a stroke at some point, not like an actual one, obviously, but like the ability to do borders around the text. I think that might be useful for UI or UX, of which I'm clearly an expert. So we can use it because release is templated. I think it just figures it out, which is nice. Again, because this is auto, we can it'll accept anything with a release. We could have used a concept like is releasable, but it doesn't really get us much. And then we can use one of our newest factories to create a solid. Oh no, this comes from the render target. Okay, fine, sorry. Obviously. Absolute fool of me to suggest anything but the render target would create your solid color brush. D2, D1, color F. How does one D2 color F direct draw? Because I've got this, which feels wrong. Like, why have I had to write color F so many times? These APIs are old. A lot of these came in around like Vista, I think. Maybe some of them go back to XP. Yeah, I do dual stream, so yeah, I guess sometimes if it looks like I'm answering a question that is not in the chat, it's from the other one. I would say at the moment YouTube is the primary source of traffic, but Twitch is getting up there, so I have no real preference. Hearing things, apologies. I guess I want a color F, and then I really want to know what my passing to this. I can't seem to find the docs for it. D2, D1, color F. Here you go. Whatever this is when it's at home. It's a type def. I think I want. This is exactly what I want. It's there. It's in the docs. Look at that. Color black. Alpha 1. Man United 0. Color F. D2, D1. Color F. Beige, black, blanched almond. Loads of choices. Spoilt for choice. And then stood. Nope. Stood out pointer. Brush. And then equals it's okay. Failed to create brush. Okay, I've got a brush, I've got a target, I got a wick, a bitmap, I got a target, I got everything. And I need a const auto origin. Where to start? A philosophical question. D2, D1, point 2F. Start the origin. I have indeed failed to spell fail. Good spot. Good spot. Glad someone out there is paying attention. It sure isn't me. Okay, so now we can start invoking things. So I can be like, hey. I would always start at the beginning when drawing. Very rarely is it useful to start at the end. Render target clear. render target draw text layout. Now we're getting there. So on the origin, the text layout, which is again already formatted with all the glyphs and stuff like that, and then the brush. So this is where you kind of, this bit here is really bringing it all together, and then render target end draw. Yes, you're right. That's probably not going to work for you. I'm going to want get. Yeah, 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 yeah. How do I recommend someone with 10 plus years of back-end web engineering transition into making games? So I find it very, I can understand why you're asking me because I'm standing up here doing it. I think it's very important that people realize that I have no industry experience in the games industry. So all I can recommend is you make lots of games and figure out, I guess, A, whether you enjoy doing it, and B, start to develop some of those skills. That's all I can really advise. I can't really see any other way of doing it because presumably if you want to transition into that professionally, you'll obviously have your CV with all your experience on it, but you potentially be asked to demonstrate something within the new industry. So having some sort of portfolio of things you've made that you can point people to and say, you know, I'm self-taught, but here's what I've learned, blah, 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 and be able to talk confidently about it. I think that will help you immensely. Okay, so did that blend? Link error. My D2, D1, D0 create factory. D2, D1, Liverpool nil is not linked. Where are you when you're at home? Where do you live? D2, D1, lib. Why not? Oh, I've only got D right. Obviously, I don't even have that anymore. I need D2, D2, D1. Sounds like there's some people here who can offer you actually a bit more pointed advice than my sort of generic, wishy-washy, maybe cut it up into a stream kind of advice. I'm not saying what I said isn't valid, but you might be able to get some more targeted advice from someone from people who've actually sort of lived and breathed that industry. Const. All right, so now I need to extract some info from the bitmap. Width equals, I don't know, I guess what, uint. Just get rid of all that. Width and height. Yeah, but you still have, like, through osmosis picked up some more than I have because I just stand here and talk C++ and hope I don't make too many mistakes and crowdsource my my typos. Right, so we should be able to do bitmap get size question mark, and out of that slap in our bitmap width and bitmap height, and then that has to equal socket, otherwise we failed to get bitmap size. Oh, obviously can't be const because I can't then write to it. CMake itself doesn't build, right? CMake is a generator for build systems. It's a meta build system. You describe your project in CMake's weird and wonderful syntax, and then from that you get a bunch of make files, Ninja project, VC proj file, Xcode system, code blocks, whatever the sort of backend emitter is. So I'm using Ninja, which is multi-threaded, I believe, by standard, by default. It might be multi-process, but it definitely runs stuff in parallel. PHP holds a special place in my heart. Next stream series, all PHP. Auto rect equals y rect. It's impossible to say. Dot. Sorry, wick ret. Apologies. X equals 0 dot. Oh, it's very angry. This uppercase dot width equals bitmap width dot height equals bitmap height. I wonder if I can make that const. Always worth a try. Unused variable. What's it complaining about this? Why is this underlined? I would like a little bit more consistency here. The get size API wants it as a uint, but the wick rect object wants it as a int. It's just the little things. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just because now I have to. I got to do all this, and like I don't mind, but you know, just think of them. Put it in the wrong place. Just think of the keyboard mileage. I only get like 100,000. My keyboard's only good for like, was it like 1 million key presses? Yeah, I guess it does make sense. I'm just upset about it. Can you pass parallel through it? I don't really understand what that means. Like Ninja does parallel builds. That's as much as I understand of the system. Yeah. Have I given my favorite PHP story before? About the function name hashing. I'm gonna have to do this again because it's one of my favorite PHP stories. See if I can find the article. Okay, here it is. So this is from php.net, right? 2013. When PHP had less than 100 functions and the function hashing mechanism was strlen, in order to get nice hash distribution of function names across the various function name lengths, various function name lengths were picked specifically to make them fit into specific length buckets. So the PHP was backed by C, and the function names in PHP were hashed, which makes sense. Like, so you would have a hash of the function name to then go and find the backing C implementation, and the hash function they used was strlen. So this is why a lot of PHP functions have weird casings and weird drop letters and stuff, because when in order to reduce collisions, they fudged it based on the function name length. Yeah, this was in 1984 when it was just for this chat. Rasmus, this is the, as far as I'm aware, the author of PHP. Yeah, and now I'm stuck with it. It just amuses me. This, like, it's one of those things where, like, it obviously made sense at the time when he was just hacking on this in his bedroom for his own personal project, and now it is WordPress is built on it, so isn't like a third of all websites in the world run on PHP, and they still have to deal with that. Some of the first like core functions might have weird spellings to avoid hashing collisions. So yeah. One of my favorite PHP anecdotes. My other favorite PHP anecdote is the calendar system. This I definitely mentioned before, but it has within the standard library how to convert from the French Republican calendar, which only converts years 1 through 14, so from 1792 to 1806, but the calendar itself was only used for like a couple of years during the French Revolution. But this is a core part of their standard library, and I don't know of anyone who's ever actually used this, but this is supported natively in PHP. The French Republican calendar. My two favorite PHP factoids. How long was the French Republican calendar used for? Calendar created and implemented during the French Revolution. It was about 12 years it was used for. So 12 years from the sort of latter part of the 18th to the early part of the 19th century. That's supported. Yeah, this is near him. Sorry. Anyway, quick detour. I am whenever anyone mentions PHP, I'm compelled to drop those two facts. I do apologize. Okay, let's continue, because now I need to lock the bitmap. Locking is very, like, I see this a lot in direct draw code. It has this concept of a lock, at which point no one else should be able to lock it, but that gives you a raw pointer to the underlying data. So this is kind of an idiom I guess I've seen before in some like direct draw code. So we're going to want an I wick bitmap lock. No, we're not. We're going to want an auto lock equals std unique pointer bitmap lock with a decal type release, which is all good. Question mark? Oh, I thought I put that in. Ugh. Okay. And then we can ensure that bitmap lock, because you have to lock a region. So this is why we calculate the rect, so we can get to the whole region. Wick bitmap lock read. We're going to read from it, and then std out pointer lock. So that should satisfy that. That should that equals. That's okay. Failed to lock bitmap. That'll be uppercase, won't it? Because it's Windows. Okay. Looking good. I'm not actually trying to run any of this, but I think we're getting there. I think you can get. So I guess I really don't want to put words in people's mouths here, but I think the love of gaming is what gets a lot of people into the games industry. I'm not necessarily sure it's what sustains them in there, so don't chase like what you find fun as a hobby as part of a career, because those might not line up. That's pure speculation, though. It might be exactly what you want to do because you enjoy it so much. I think if you're curious about graphics and low-level APIs and syscalls, you can get a lot of that knowledge outside. Like, I mean, I've picked up a lot of this graphics stuff by just messing around with it. Any systems language will inevitably let you end up doing low-level APIs and syscalls. So learn some C or some C++ or some Rust or something like This is designated initialization in C++ 17, 20, 20? Question mark? 20, I think. It constructs this object, which is just a struct, and I can just call, this is the definition of that struct, and then from there I can just set those members. It's quite, that's quite personal preference. I like doing that, but you absolutely don't have to do that. 17, okay. Good to know. Right, now I want a pointer through the lock to get a pointer to the raw bytes. So we're going to have auto uint buffer size and auto buffer equals stirred byte. That is not correct. That is not correct syntax at all. I've completely made that up. Ooh, a nightmare. Equals stirred byte. Nope, that's going to have to be. Apologies. Stirred byte buffer. Okay, got there now. Sorry about that. Just absolutely had an absolute mad 5 minutes there on the syntax. Yeah, no, I was not sure at all. I think you have to you have to you have to specify them in the order that they're declared, right? Otherwise, I think it's a warning. I don't think it might be UB, because of the complex way that the interdependent members might be initialized and stuff like that. So you pretty much have to define them in the order they are specified. Yes, the API could change under the hood. I mean, but like you're always up against that. For me, I think if I'm passing this code for the first time, I think it's nice. It's very obvious what this code does, and I think the readability for me trumps the disadvantages. Interesting. Okay, fine. I thought it was part of the spec. I guess it's aggregate initialization, isn't it? Doesn't it initialize this? Here we go. Here you go. No, it's part of the spec. Here you go. All designators using the expression must appear in the same order as the data members of T. Error. Designator order does not match declaration order. Since 20. Unless I'm reading that wrong. So no, this is one of the interesting. This is one of the fundamental differences between C and C++. In C, it does not matter because you don't have constructors and things might not happen. But C++ very much, because other code might happen as part of the construction, C++ defines the order. I was about to say, I could have sworn this was the case. Oh yeah, I mean, some compilers will accept non-conformant code, sure, but it is part of C++ to initialize in the order, and that's but there's an interesting difference between C and C++ there. I mean, yeah, I think it is ill-formed, but again, this is one of the beauties of C++ is just because your compiler accepts it does not mean the compiler is right. Yeah, so I'm going to hoover out the rendered bytes now, shove them in a texture, which is my own object, which is an encapsulation of an OpenGL buffer. So that will be used as and bindable as a texture. And then we just need to render some sprites and slap that on. Easy. I don't know how far we'll get through that today, but I at least want to try and get some of this done. So then we can ensure the lock get data pointer and the buffer size and buffer. That's probably going to be, it's almost certainly not going to accept that type because it's not going to know about std byte. Reinterpret cast, std byte star would be two star programmers again. Equals okay. Failed to get data pointer. That's wrong. Okay. Where have I gone wrong? Where have I gone wrong? Don't I say char with our values to byte? Oh, of course. No, I need to. You're right. What a fool. I need to conform to this API, don't I? So this is a RPC dref out ecount full opt WSN proc pointer type. Jeez, that's a mouthful. What's that when it's at home? Of course. I think it told me, didn't it? AKA unsigned char star. There's probably a better Microsoft type for that. I say better, like a word. Something like byte. We don't. One day we will reflect with the double carry, but we're not there yet. It's not an engine. It's just a simple little 3D forward render, diffuse shaded, little bit of tone mapping kind of game. Try and run it later. I address that by using, like, making it the compiler's problem, which is why I use RAI wrappers, right? Unique pointer with the release. It means I never have to remember to unlock it. Like, it will do it for, it will release it for me. That's my kind of view on it. I don't think I need to unlock it anyway because no one else is. This is constructed entirely within here, and then it gets unlocked. It gets released at the end and kind of reclaimed. So there is no kind of issue with that. But by and large, I would try and construct primitives that solve those problems for me and effectively make it the compiler's problem. Kive, hello. Stack Unwinding will auto-release it only if you've told it to, as in you've got the destructor to, because Stack Unwinding will cause the destructor of all locally allocated objects to be called in reverse order. So if those destructors do something, like release a resource, then yes, you'll get that for free. It's going to be 3D, and there'll be 100% zero ray tracing. Okay, so now, probably also include cstdef to get access to byte. So let's do auto pixel data equals std vector of probably ctad this, right? Buffer plus buffer size. Okay. Maybe even just a span. Is there any sense in copying that? I can't remember what texture takes, to be honest. So this is what we're going to eventually be munging it into. It takes a span. Okay, fine. Vector, get out of here. Take the span over the data because it should be contiguous anyway. And then what do we actually return here? Is a texture pointer. Texture pointer. Don't know how I feel about that. I want to return a texture object, don't I? and then something, stick it in the cache. How did I learn Jolt? By basically reading the docs and a little bit of ChatGPT. That was basically it. And I wouldn't say I've learned it. I've said I would kind of grokked enough to drive it to do what I want to do. Yeah, we raw dogs the Jolt docs basically. Would the bitmap days live long enough? In this case, yes, I think it will. We got there. It was good. I enjoyed. I must admit, that was actually a highlight for me of this series, was figuring out a new API live with people. Like, it was, I'm not gonna lie, it's a little bit nerve wracking because there's every chance I wouldn't be able to figure it out. But between all of us, we got there in the end, and I think it was good fun. The problem is I don't have a sampler. None of these constructors are what I want. I think maybe this. Construct the... So what? Well, I just null pointer the sampler, right? What is this? How does this work? What does this set the sampler to? It doesn't. How does the rendering code work? Does it assume a default sampler? Son of Liberty, you can look at my Vim config, but basically I used Kickstart, which is a kind of same default config for NeoVim, and then I just tweaked it slightly. So look up Kickstart, or I think someone's already posted it. You can look at all my dot files. They might be slightly out of date. I will be probably updating them soon because I'm hoping to migrate to a new PC next week. OpenGL sampler objects. Noah super chatted $5. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Seeing if I could patch Splinter Cell Chaos Theory's voice chat. It uses direct play, but even when enabled, it's not detected. I mean, it sounds like an interesting problem. If you have not, please head over to Discord and put it in the video suggestion. But I can't. I'm very thankful for the super chat, but I need to be kind of honest that does not in any way kind of buy prioritization of videos. Just to set expectations clear, but I very much appreciate the gesture, and it's very kind of you. But yeah, you're more welcome to kind of discuss it on Discord, and I will try my best to get around to it. Unfortunately, if you look at the video suggestions channel, it's quite big now. But yeah, cool. No, I just can't remember what. This seems strange as well because like I only support frame. Oh, this is special. This is special. This is one is for well, frame buffers and depth buffers and stuff like that. So I definitely want one of these. I'm just wondering where I'm going to get the sampler from. I don't really want to. I guess I could dependency inject it into here. That's probably the sanest way of doing it for now. Because I've got a feeling I'm going to need to create... We haven't actually, like... Our sample object is pretty lame. So I think we need to probably actually apply something to that because I've got a feeling you don't want... I think you want, like... You don't want... I seem to remember when I did this before, like 3 years ago, there was some issue around the filtering of pixels and stuff on fonts, which made them look blurry. Yeah, I think we do, but I'm going to make it future Nathan's problem by saying I'll just dependency inject that. And then sampler, and then down here we can hop back over to texture. So now we have all the bits. We just need to put them together. I think we just want that first one. So this is going to be texture usage. Is it sRGB though? Probably not. It's gonna be is it gonna be linear, or does it render it to sRGB space? Yeah, I just don't know if I want to use SDFs. I just don't know if it's worth the effort for what it's just gonna be a couple of UI elements. Next project, maybe. And then from here I can do like bitmap width, bitmap height. Oh, probably want some data in there. Buffer, and then sampler. Do I see reverse engineering on the rise? It's always like a useful skill, and it's applied in many different ways. I can't see the need to understand how things work under the hood ever going away. What have I done? What have I done wrong? Usage, data, width, height, sampler. Is this constant byte? No. Compiler, help me out. Give me something. Give me something more useful. Don't just say no. Don't give me all that. It certainly does not like my span. No other function for all the arguments, but so we got usage. Could be span. Cannot convert from std byte star to std. May 132. Oh, because it's pixel data, that's why. What full? And actually, can I go back to ctadding that? I can. Nice. Nailed it. If it's pre-recorded, I would not make this many mistakes. I mean, it just it works. It builds. Christ, how the hell are I going to start wiring all this up? Oh, it's just so much code. Look at it. Look at it all. It's not even particularly pretty. Like, this is gross. Okay, let's have a think about this. Let's go to our dear little renderer. So at the moment, when we render everything to a frame buffer, and then we do post-processing. I think what we want here then is like render UI. I don't think that's unreasonable thing to have. So we render the scene, we do the post-processing, and then we slap the UI on afterwards, because this means it's not accidentally post-processed. Yeah, I've gotten better at it as we go along, of kind of switching between coding and chatting and keeping multiple streams in. I think we will eventually hit a limit where I cannot keep up with every single all the people chatting, and I think that's going to be an interesting dynamic change. But at the moment, like obviously, I'd love more people to be here always, but I'm thankful for the 100 of you who've decided to spend your Sunday with me, and I enjoy chatting with you. Okay, so we'll do that, and then basically I just need to render some sprites. Do I have like a mesh loader? Oh, I've already got already got a sprite. Obviously, you thought about this before. Where the hell do I use that? Ugh, I mean, it could be just anything but that. Oh, I use it for the post-processing because all the post-processing is slapped over a sprite. That's fine. Yeah, it's a problem I'm just going to tackle head on. I'm not thinking about it too much now. Like I feel like I can make the most of it while it's manageable. But hopefully things pick up and expand. Like that is the dream. But it'd be a shame to lose that like banter because I think that's fun. Nice, you've got it. You've nailed it. You've done my first sword animation. No, but like enjoy it while it lasts, right? And then we'll see. It might be that the streams, like you say, come a little bit more structured. So I code and then I chat. I don't know. Nice problems to have. Okay, so I want to slap this here. So I think I'm gonna like the dumping ground scene. I think scene should own the UI elements, right? Because this is what we hand over to the renderer. So this is like here's all the things I want to. Entity is the bit of the dumping ground, right? But I shouldn't need a lot of this. Like I think I can create a new like UI entity and have a bunch of those which just describe like the texture, and they should all have the same material to start with. Then you just loop through those and render them. I've been doing this for about a decade now, so I've picked up the odd few like anecdote. So I think scene needs a UI, right? UI being part of the scene, I think makes sense. So if you had a scene for like a level, then it could have that particular UI on it. If we had a scene for like like an intro screen, like a loading menu, then that would have some UI on it. I don't want to go full ham and create like a full UI thing, so I think we might just keep this simple to start and then expand out as needed. That tends to be the way I want to do it. I also feel like I'm kind of playing for time and not really writing any code because I'm not really sure what I'm going to write yet. I'll have a single UI element, so like buttons and sliders and all that can go do one. We'll just have label, and I think the scene will just have a collection of labels which will have the texture and the position, because I believe texture knows its own dimensions, question mark, or it should do. It does not, but it could do. And I guess it also needs a sprite as well. So let's make source graphics UI, and then in source graphics UI, let's do a label.h. Just keeping it simple, like all we need, because the label could just say like press enter to continue or something like that. In which case, I've solved the problem with buttons. And we had early ImGUI integrated for moving stuff around, and I think I'll probably end up building a level editor out of ImGUI separately. But I kind of want to, because I've done the text rendering stuff, I kind of want the game should be shippable without ImGUI is what I'm saying. Like, I don't want any core gameplay mechanics to rely on that. I want to have built everything else out from scratch. ImGUI is an excellent way to kind of bootstrap us early on, and I might still use it for a level editor. I'm not planning on making a full UI, but again, this is part of the process that I want to do because I'm trying to do as much stuff from scratch as possible. But we'll see. So anyway, class, label. We'll have a public. Actually, to be honest, I reckon probably just that, right? And then we're gonna have, let's forward declare some stuff. We're gonna have a. Do I have a? Do I have a rect? No, I don't. Class texture, class. Mesh data. What does mesh loader give us? Does it give you the mesh data? So I should be able to have. I'm just thinking out loud now. This is all just thinking out loud. C stood int. Come on. We're gonna have. Oh no, I don't even. Fluff me, super chat. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciated. Pop in and say thanks for the quality content. You're learning reversing, or actually reverse engineering for security research, and the stuff is applicable. Great study. I'm glad you find it useful. Do come along to the Discord. Pretty helpful. There's people there who are a lot smarter than me and always willing to help out. Okay, so I want the texture, right? I think that's a given. I've gone to all this effort to generate the texture. I definitely want one. And then so that should describe. So do I don't need the mesh data for each one, right? Sprite mesh data will be static. It'll be a 1x1 square, and then I'll just create a model matrix which scales it based on the width and height, right? In the same way that that's what the renderer does. I suppose that's full screen actually, so it's even easier than that. But mesh loader. Yeah, I think that's all I need to do, right? And I just need to have it. So this here has the positions and the UVs for a 2x2 thing. So as long as I remember that and scale it correctly, I can just figure that out in the thing. So label just has a texture. Is that all it will need a position, right? Ugh, never want the fast one. Never want the fast int. X Y. Is that all I need for the label, assuming I modify texture to remember its width and height? Why would I need a string view? Because the text is already rendered, if that's what you're referring to, and that's within the texture. So I see what you mean. At this point, the label will actually have no knowledge of the text because it would have been pre-rendered into the texture. So yeah. Yes, I think we can kind of make that nicer later on. But for now, I think we can just store this. I just want to get something rendering. If you make it a reference, then this becomes unassignable, which does have some implications further down the line to other potential design choices. this means it's easier to kind of slap in containers and stuff like that. So I tend to prefer pointers for that reason, because it has less of an impact on the semantics of the class, or the struct in this case. They are the same thing. Okay, so let's go back to scene and include graphics UI. Nope, just get rid of all that. Label, and then we'll have a stud vector label labels. Okay, I think I like that. So now for the renderer, we can actually reuse the post-processing sprite, I believe, because this just creates. We could just rename that to sprite here, right? I might rename it in a bit. I probably want to comment up some more of this first. So now, does beer count? Assume the answer to that is no. In which case, Dr. Pepper. It's fizzy. It's cold. In which case, my favorite fizzy drink is beer. Failing that, then if you want the sensible adult answer, then it would be Dr. Pepper, I suspect. Or close second, vanilla Coke. Okay, let's try this. I think. Oh god, head's done. Go, because I combine the texture here, right? I like how I just reused the skybox sampler for this. Clearly not expecting to ever change it. I don't know what my first experience of beer was like. I did waste a lot of my youth drinking beer in a field with my friends, and I'm not in any way advocating that you should do that, but I can only say that's what I did. Okay, let's. I'm just gonna copy. No, I'm not. Right, so we're gonna want a new material. This will be the label material. And from here, this is going to get interesting now, because I've got a feeling I'm going to need some maths. Can I... reuse maybe something? What's the get file do? That's at home. Oh, it loads it from the TLV. I'm going to create a new material for this, I think. Anyway, so create, just to remind myself what it all does. It might look exactly like another one, but for now, it's going to be fun. I have to rebuild the resource pack. Okay. Because essentially all I need to do then is take this, because the default frame buffer is still bound, so I will render to that and do Ah, I've had one of those moments, I see. ETT. So I want to use the label material, bind the post-processing sprite, just reuse it. Bind the texture. I don't care for that. I'll delete that. Still want that. I could probably elide one of these binds as well, but for now I'm just going to keep it simple like this. So I think the game here is, what do I need to pass in? Can I... You're welcome. I'm glad you're enjoying them. I'm going to need orthographic projection, aren't I? Right, I'm going to have to pass in a camera to render the... Do I need... Can I just position them in NDC space? Does that make sense? Am I using the right words? Because I've got an X and a Y, which will be in screen space. So ideally I need to map that. It just seems a massive faff to create a new camera just for that. But maybe that's right. Because I guess I'm going to have to pass in the model matrix. A 2D camera is an orthographic projection camera, right? Or am I wrong? And then I'm going to pass in... I will need to construct a model matrix for these anyway. I mean, I do have a perspective one already, so probably not too much faff to go and figure out what the orthographic one should be. I just don't want to. Okay, let's put that off. Let's wire up the shader first and figure out where we're going with that. So let's copy assets simple vert to assets label.vert. It very well could be the same. We need to do some cleanup of all the shaders anyway. Assets label vert. Strong sandwich. So I don't need... I need to take these layouts in because this is what the data is going to look like, but I don't need any of this out gubbins. So I guess we can simplify that. Don't need the normal. Do need that. Don't need that. I think that's right. Well, you're back just in time to help me struggle through GLSL. Yeah, we'll just create an orthographic projection camera, and I'll just create one of them in the renderer, and it can just deal with it. Oh, there's gonna be so much that's gonna go wrong with this. This is absolutely not gonna render at all. And then copy assets. Let's go for the simple frag, and we'll do assets label frag e assets label frag. Okay, so oh yeah, I don't need any of this lighting nonsense. I only need one input texture, which is fine. I don't need the normal. I don't need the Tibetan. Need those. All this can go. So really, I think it's just that, isn't it? And then if there's any alpha shenanigans, we can fix it up here. But I think that's right. No, it will be scaled based on the view, the model. Frag position can go to. Yes, it can. Yes, you're right, it can. Uh, sorry, my terrible OpenGL code. You're going to set the projection matrix only once per frame and the model matrix per stride. Going to set the projection once per frame. Yes. Yes, I agree with you. I think that's my plan. I think. Who knows? I'm making this up as I go along. Okay, let's start wiring this up now that we've got this. So my renderer at the bottom. I will improve some of this naming as well because it is a little bit gross. I will bind the texture to 0 of I need to use the label once, and I need to bind it once, right? And even though I'm going to be in a loop, because I'm still going to be using that mesh data. No, I'm not. I'm not bindingless. We are fully bounded. Const auto label in scene dot labels. And then I think I can do label dot texture. That's actually, what am I doing? Texture XY. So that would draw them, and then I just need to wire up the model matrix. Absolutely excellent OpenGL crossover Pokemon joke there. Really appreciate that. The reason I'm not doing bindness is one, I don't think I need it, and two, RenderDoc doesn't support it. So I just feel like I'm kind of setting myself up for failure there. Absolutely. Oh, I might have gift memberships to use at the end of this because it's the new month. Someone remind me at the end. YouTube memberships. See if Harand can win for a third time. Okay, I think this is what I want to do, right? Bind the material, blah, 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 draw. So somewhere up here, I bind the model. So let's we will create a new model matrix. It's not probably the most efficient to create each tick, but for the amount of UI elements we're going to have, I really don't think I care. Auto model equals matrix for what can I do with my matrix? It's been so long. It's old code now. I need a translation and a scale. Nailed it. Matrix 4. Let's do vector 3 translation x, y, 0. And then scale will be vector 3 texture width, which we obviously don't have because I've not implemented it yet. Texture height, and then I don't know, 1.0f. Oh, sure. I do need to find a way for you to spend those channel points. So we need to wire that in. I think that's all we need to do, right? Then everything else is just, oh shit, so we'll do the orthographic projection and set the camera. So we're going to need a orthographic projection camera. Where do I set the camera data on this? Is it here? Boom. I'm just trying to wire everything up, so it should in theory just work. And then where do I, here we go. I think I can reuse the camera buffer and then do static const auto auth camera equals camera, and then camera auth camera. Right, okay. I think all we got to do is just fill in the blanks now. Write an orthographic projection, expose the width and height from texture, bish bash bosh. Done your rings. Yes, that's what we're going to do. The texture will expose that. I've just not done it yet. So let's go to texture and then do auto width const std uint 32t. That do this, that, and the other, and then we're going to want to do nope, no, we're not. Std uint 32t width std uint 32t height. Take these. Sorry, there's always a mad rush at the end of the stream to try and actually get something done. Return widths. Return height. So now I just got to wire these into every single constructor that takes them. Where are the easy ones? Let me do this. I'm absolutely not consistent with any of this, so I apologize. Okay. I think these exist in description. Nailed that. No idea about this one. Oh, I think it figures it out from here. That's fine. That'll figure it because it actually uses another constructor internally. It's this line here is a little bit grim, but it works. The word you're looking for is interop, and most languages will have an interop functionality. as the sort of hardware lingua franca, C is like the lowest common denominator. Most languages will have an interop into C, and then you can basically use that as the intermediary like language. So you can, if you wanted to call C++ in another language, you could always expose that code as a C API and then bind that other language to that. And C you can call C++ as well. It's definitely possible. Make sure you get this pointer in the right place. Okay, fine. So that's done. Question mark. So here now, the only thing we need to do is the orthographic camera. I'm gonna have to look up how I've done this before. Bear with. I think I can infer it from these arguments. Width, unit says to t, height, stood unit says to t. In fact, actually, I probably want this to be floats, don't I? Float widths, float height, float depth. Is that what I need to construct an orthographic projection? And spell label correctly. Sorry, where have I? Let me fix this now before everyone has a go at me. Ah, thank you. I don't know what it's complaining about here. Ugh. What was I moaning about having inconsistent types in APIs earlier? Yeah, you'll need to write a C wrapper for your C++ code, which does that translation unit for you. So stick it in extern C. So create a header file as functions, so it's like standalone functions which allow you to interop with the C++, which take basically a void pointer, and then stick that in extern C, and then you should be pretty much good to go. Yes, I am going to assume that is 0, so I think that should be enough. Also, camera has no near and far. I think you might be right. I think. Oh, let me have a look at my matrix code for this, because I have done this before. Matrix 4. I think the maths for orthographic tends to be a little bit easier. Anyway, I have done it with a depth, so I will continue with that. Now, my code is row major, and I need it to be column major, so this is inevitably going to be wrong. Perspective. Also graphic. Float widths. Float height. Float depth. Okay. Yes, so what I'm going to do is basically synthesize those values from what I've got. So const auto right equals width, const auto left equals minus right, const auto top equals height, const auto bottom equals minus height, const auto bar equals depth, const auto near equals 0.0f. Oh, yes, it is. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I do want that link because I've got a feeling what I've got is wrong. Oh no, I think what I've got is right. But anyway, right. So watch as I get this wrong in the most horrific way possible. Yes, sorry. Actually, I think I prefer minus right and having this minus top. Okay, let's do this. So I've got column, and so I'm looking at the mathematical notation, but I have to remember that I'm storing them column major. So this is 2.0f over right minus left, and then it's 0.0f, 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 and then it's 0.0f, 2.0f over top minus bottom, 0.0f, 0.0f, then it's 0.0f, 0.0f, minus 2.0f over r minus near, 0.0f, and then it's minus right plus left over right minus left minus top plus bottom over top minus bottom. I'm deliberately ignoring chat at the moment whilst I try and get this right. Far plus near over far minus near 1.0f. Oh, of course, it's expecting a array of values, isn't it? Aha. Right. I think that's about as good as it's going to get. Okay, so now back to the renderer. We can say console to camera equals 192.920 by 1080. Yes, I know these are hard coded. 1080u by like what, 1000 depth. Okay, and now we can go to Lua level, right? And then go hash include graphics UI label. And then where we set up our scene for rendering, we can do dot labels equals gonna need to create a text factory in here. I'm not gonna have time probably to massively debug this, so unless it works first time, this will be a problem for Wednesday. But let's see how we get to const auto text factory equals text factory. Oh, hang on. Lower level. Okay, so in here we can do text factory. Oh god, it needs a pointer, doesn't it? What a pain. Where am I going to store that? Auto text test equals text factory. This is not good code. This is not good code. Create hello world. I'll just reuse the skybox sampler like I've done for everything else. It's not good code. It's not good code. Okay, and then I can do test. What have I called it? Text test. 0, 0. Okay. Yeah, I mean, take that in the sense that like we will have to refactor this anyway in order to extend it to be useful. So let's arm the resources and then let's build off because it's going to take a while because it's got to repack all the resources. I guess we could have a quick peruse through the code to see what we've changed, convince ourselves it's going to work. So we have a text factory which does a lot of horror. Texture now exposes width and height. Scene has a concept of labels. Label is nothing more than a texture and some coordinates. The camera now. Oh, hang on, the camera's not. We've not hooked up the camera yet, have we? That'll be a link error anyway. It's quite a lot to unpack to add here. So let's see. This becomes. Where is my camera positioned? Is it at the origin slightly back? Does it even make sense to have a position? I suppose it does because you want to pan it and move it potentially. I think it's just on the positive z-axis looking down, right? I just want to see if I can get this going. Orthographic width, height, depth. Try and fix some of these up as I go along. Alright, just leave those as is. No one cares. Right. You posted positive Z. Yes, that's what I've done. I think that's there. Fine. Position is going to be this. I need to get it so you can control the position. But for now, seeing as we're not going to be calling any of these methods on it, we're not going to be controlling it at all for the moment. I'm happy just to kind of fudge this in. Just want to prove the text rendering works. That is the problem. There is no field of view, so I guess keep that as 0.0f, and then the near plane is 0.0f, and then the far plane is depth. Oh, that is gross. Yeah, I think so. I think we can tidy this up. Again, I just want to see if it works. Oh, I got a header issue somewhere for this to cascade like this. Matrix 4. Jeez. What? In Matrix? I can't see what's wrong with any of that. Why is it saying const auto, no variable declared before out 266? Oh no, it is a typo. Well done. Good spot. I am being dense somewhere. Why is it not like this? Static auto orthographic produces that. Inline auto orthographic. Is yes, we had this before, isn't it? Far is some sort of weird reserved word in Windows. Well done. We had this problem before. Thanks, Windows. No, I rolled my own maths for fun of these, so we have problems like this. Yeah, it's a reserved keyword. Agree. They should not reserve. When they're so keen to make everything else angry uppercase lettering. I'm going to run this exactly once and see what happens, and then I'm going to call it because I use beer with my name on it, and it's hot in here, and I think debugging this is going to require me to take a break and come back afresh rather than trying to like bash my head against it now. I'm happy to go through the mechanics of getting like the first pass implementation out, and we'll comment that up after this and get that committed. But I think debugging it is a fresh start on Wednesday. We'll bash it out. It's tinny time. Indeed, yeah. So start like I suppose I can start commenting up some of this while this is building. Add label struct commit extend texture to retain dimensions. Correct. Add orthographic projection to matrix 4. Camera commit. Add ortho camera. Right, so then we've got texture commit. Finish first pass text rendering. Okay. Add extend renderer to render labels. Add test label to scene. Okay. This is stuck, right? The Git tool I use is called LazyGit. It's a command line tool. But I have a plugin in NeoVim which lets me open up with, I have it set to leader LG, so it just pops up, and then it's super useful. We shouldn't need to worry too much about glyphs because I'm making it Windows problem. The whole point of using the direct raw text rendering is it's kind of Windows problem to do the whatever graphene cluster is. Like I don't really want to know or care. The reason I don't use Visual Studio is because I can't do this. Tmux is basically the only reason I'm hanging around here. And I mean, I prefer NeoVim over Vim bindings for editor because they never are like 100% true. But yeah, that's my reasonings. It's hard to say because most of this is being used up with Clang D. Look at those Clang D processes. I mean, it's not loads. It could be better. This just takes a while because it's a lot of file I/O and compressing. I like lazy git because it's still a CLI tool and you can still just drop in and out and write commands. I just find it's an easy way to kind of visualize a lot of the data that you would normally probably write a load of aliases for anyway. Right, let's get this done. Oh, actually, let me see if I can, whilst we're doing this, how do I YouTube? I'm live right now. Pause. I don't need the feedback loop. You got a long way to go because I think this is stream 67, but I'm glad you're here and enjoying it. Okay, engage with my audience. No, support, membership gifting. Send now. Okay, do that while I wait. YouTube allows me to gift out memberships, 10 a month in blocks of 5. So, Connor, congratulations. Cougar, Tom, Michael, Pixel. 1 month free subscription gives you early access to videos, a few behind the scenes things, sneaky extra room in Discord, not a lot of extra stuff. I'm bored of this now. I want to see if it works. I'm glad it helped. There will be, I suspect your 3-month membership will include early access to the next video because I'm hoping to get it out within the next month. So you'll get like about 24 hours early access to that. I don't know why this has stopped. Like, is it just taking a long time or has it frozen? We can all just, excuse me, hang out and chat. It is up, yes, in the hands of the deities. It's called, what's it called? It's called Resource Loader, isn't it? Resource Packer. Was it just a general CMake, or is it under Ninja? Here we go. It's done. It was just taking a while. Right, build these last 2 translation units, and then let's watch as the whole thing dies and collapses in a fire. Okay, right. Clanky's been pretty stable for me. Not had many issues. Yo. Anticlimactic. Indeed. I am not going to build this and bump this as a version for people because it doesn't work. So I don't feel there's much to be gained for this. This has crashed though, which is exciting. 4T stream 67. Stick that in the Git hole. No, I'm not going to bother doing a build. I just don't think there's any point. I can always go back to the stream the Git history if I'm curious what happened at this point, but I think there's very little to be gained from that. Is there a resource where to learn how to re-render rescale GUIs for old games? I don't know anything off the top of my head. I've not really had to do any of that yet. I'd probably just bash my head against it and hope for the best. I'm glad you watched it from the beginning. It's fun. It's really, yeah. I never really thought this would be like a resource people would go back to. I thought like these streams are kind of like almost not quite fire and forget, but a lot of people said they start watching from the beginning, which is exciting. I'm glad you're enjoying it. It must be quite interesting to see how the project evolves over time because there's lots of decisions we made early on, which we then ended up undoing and changing. So, yeah. Okay, that's what I've got. Thank you very much for coming along. I had a great time Slightly anticlimactic ending, but such is the way with these, it often happens. Wednesday, we shall debug text rendering and get it fixed, and then a good time will be had by all. I will catch you all anon.